So, what's really driving immigration to Europe? In recent years, we've seen a surge in negative rhetoric surrounding immigration, especially in Europe. But why is this happening? Is it really about the number of people coming in, or is there something deeper at play? Are immigrants truly a threat, or are we missing the bigger picture? In this video, we'll explore these questions and more, diving into the roots of immigration, debunking xenophobic myths, and exposing the moral failures of the current response. In this video, we're also going to reference neocolonialism and how it causes these issues. If you want to learn more about it, go check out our video on the subject. To understand why immigration happens, we need to look at history. While colonialism once involved direct control over territories, its modern form, neocolonialism, still impacts the world today. Western nations, especially in Europe and North America, have long exploited regions in the global south for their resources and labor. Colonial exploitation didn't stop, it evolved. Multinational corporations, unfair trade practices, and political interventions continue to drain wealth from these countries, leaving them in political and economic despair. This legacy of exploitation has left many countries in the global south grappling with poverty, conflict, disease, and a range of other hardships. When people are faced with such harsh conditions, it's only natural for them to seek better lives elsewhere. Just as water flows to fill low ground, people move towards regions with more stability and wealth. And where is that wealth concentrated? In the very countries that have benefited most from global exploitation. So why do some view immigrants as a problem? Well, it's rooted in racism. The perspective that immigrants are a threat to European culture is strikingly hypocritical when we consider Europe's history. Modern Europe is home to a mosaic of ethnicities and cultural backgrounds due to colonialism. Therefore, the notion of homogeneous, pure European identities is both historically inaccurate and a denial of the continent's diverse and intertwined heritage. The fear of losing cultural identity or security is completely unfounded and has been created by far-right groups trying to stir up division and hysteria. Let's be clear, diversity enriches society, bringing new perspectives, labor, and culture. The recent EU decision to dismantle the Right to Asylum Pact highlights a troubling lack of empathy. By closing borders and rejecting those in need, Europe is showing its true colors. Migrants from various regions, including the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and Latin America, are fleeing hardship, not committing crimes. The only difference between them and Ukrainians who receive more empathy is race and cultural background. This disparity reveals a white supremacist double standard. Blaming migrants for their plight ignores the role EU nations have played in causing their suffering, and turning away those seeking refuge is morally bankrupt. The truth is that immigration is inevitable. No matter how many people we turn away or how many people drown in the Mediterranean Sea, people will keep coming. Why? Because the root cause of migration, economic despair, violence, environmental degradation are directly tied to the actions of wealthy nations. Our imperialist past and present, driven by neocolonialism, have created the conditions that force people to flee their homes in search of safety and a better life. With climate change worsening, we're facing a future with even more environmental refugees. The idea that we can somehow stop migration with more border controls and inhumane policies is not only unrealistic and deeply immoral, but moronic. These policies will only lead to more suffering and death. If Europeans believe they can halt migration without addressing the root causes, they're living in a fantasy. To address this issue effectively, we need to undertake substantial systemic changes. We need to end our imperialist actions. We must stop backing oppressive far-right governments in the global south that exacerbate conflicts and human rights abuses. We need to back labor movements, worker revolts, and leftist revolutions in the global south. By supporting those who fight for justice and equitable economic systems, we help create truly democratic governments run by the people for the people. We need to mitigate the environmental crisis we've caused. This involves halting destructive practices like deforestation, mining, and pollution in the global south. These are monumental tasks, but it's the only way to create a world where migration is driven by choice, not desperation. So, if you oppose immigration and support policies that let people die or suffer, then in effect, you're endorsing a fascist agenda. There's no middle ground here. The solution isn't to shut out migrants, but to dismantle the systems of oppression that forced them to migrate in the first place. We need to face the reality of our actions and work towards a more just and humane world. Immigration isn't a problem to be solved with walls and exclusion. It's a consequence to our actions, and it demands our compassion and systemic change. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support us, and also stay updated on future episodes, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Additionally, you can support us on Patreon or visit our website to learn about alternative non-monetary ways to support our work. Join our public Discord server to become part of our community and submit questions for our Q&A on the monthly Politdigm podcast. Also, don't forget to drop a comment with questions you would like us to cover. Anyways, good studies, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.